All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Living the Dream podcast. Today on the show, we have Troy Akin, who is the founder of EcoSports, a sustainable sporting goods store. Troy, how you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Thanks so much for having me on the show. How are you doing today?
Dude, doing well. Thanks for asking, and I am happy to have you on. And we like to jump right in. So if you could start
Great.
with just telling us a little bit about yourself, some of the things you like to do for fun, that'd be great.
Yeah, definitely. I grew up being an athlete, played every sport possible. We were a big basketball family. I got into tennis a little bit later in my life. I played college tennis, graduating from Chapman University, where I played one singles and doubles there. I moved out to LA to be in the entertainment world, do some like acting, and then just trying to market myself through social media and through reels and creating content. I really fell in love with marketing, and so my background is definitely in marketing. And about 2 years ago, I started getting into kind of the vegan lifestyle and going plant-based, just for health purposes. I wanted to recover better, perform being a college athlete, like I performed at a high level. And now as I started to get older, like my body started to hurt more. And it was just frustrating that, I couldn't just go pick up a tennis racket and play 2 hours anymore without like my back being sore or like having to stretch for 15 minutes before. And so I started finding basically veganism, plant-based. And then the deeper I got into it, I realized that there are more issues than just my personal health. There's animal welfare, there's climate change. I mean, there's so many different aspects to it. And so the more I got into it, some of my vegan friends were like, hey, when I go out and play golf, are you using a vegan golf glove? I like didn't even think about the fact that there's leather in golf gloves, that like there's sheepskin in tennis balls. So like every time I go out and play tennis, I feel like I'm being hypocritical. And so I realized that there's no place for vegan sporting equipment out there. As someone that's so passionate about sports, and that is just such a big part of my life, I want it to be a big part of other people's lives in a vegan, sustainable, recyclable, biodegradable way. And so therefore, here I am today with EcoSports and now talking to you.
Awesome, man. I love that. I love that. And so would you say that's primarily your motivation? You found veganism and then you kind of just went full force with it and wanted to incorporate it in the sports world so it was easily accessible for a lot of people who are playing sports?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm still in like a adult old man basketball league right now, and we always play with leather basketballs, and which may feel great, and that's just what we've been accustomed to. You don't even think about like the fact that footballs, soccer balls, volleyballs, like baseball gloves, they're all leather, and like leather is brutal for the cows, obviously, but it's also super toxic for the workers to make. The toxicity that releases into our water is horrible for our earth. And so there are other options out there like a PU or PVC like leather, which is a fake leather, but those again are also toxic. And so I came across material that is biodegradable and recyclable, and sustainable and easy for the workers to make. And so yeah, to your point, I wanted to create a change throughout sports and basically like replacing leather in sports with a sustainable option.
Gotcha. Do you feel like you'll get a lot of backlash from that, from people in the sporting community?
Yeah, I get this question a lot, and will a little bit, but as long as my product is as good as what they're accustomed to playing with, then why wouldn't they want to go with the ball that's doing the right thing, that's pro animal welfare, that's pro climate change, that's pro just doing the right thing, as long as the ball is up to the standards of what they're used to playing with, which I think we have. So right now we have basketballs and soccer balls that are being shipped over. The volleyballs had a little bit of an issue, but I felt like I couldn't. I had college level players. I had they're still playing some semi-professional players that are testing my balls, and they're telling me that it's just a volleyball because I don't know that sport as well as basketball or tennis. That like this isn't quite up to standard. So like we need to make sure that the balls are as high caliber as high caliber balls as the one that everyone's accustomed to, and we shouldn't see too much backlash on that. Just trying to save the world.
Yeah, yeah, no, awesome. I love that. And, you know, the vegan, like, I didn't understand that being vegan, like, goes that deep. Like, people, one, are like really passionate. I thought it was just a diet, but it is not that at all. And I love that that's what you're going after. So tell us a little bit more about what kind of made you make the switch from like it just being a health choice to it really being something that you're super passionate about.
Yeah, honestly, I just read a Facebook article one day that just said going on a plant-based diet is better for you. So I was like, okay, sure, let me try it for 3 days a week. I, was feeling better, sleeping better. Then I went 5 days a week. And then all of a sudden, after one binging weekend of alcohol and cheeseburgers and all that type of stuff, I was just like, I'm gonna make the switch 7 days a week. So it took me about 6 months to make the full transition to being completely plant-based or the vegan diet. And I just started reading more about it and listening to podcasts and scrolling through the internet. And you kind of like when you start listening to the vegan podcast, it just comes with the territory of the plant-based diet that you start learning about, like how factory farming is so horrible and that these animals are just being treated so poorly, and how cows and are just one of the biggest emitters of CO2, and just that we use more land for cows, we use more water. Like we we have millions of people that are malnourished throughout the world, and yet we have 76 billion cows or something, and we figure out a way to feed them every single day. So it's like, it's not there. Yeah, so you just kind of go down the rabbit hole of like, there's reason after reason after reason that I made the transition, and I wanted to combine my passion of veganism and sports, and created a vegan ball.
There you go. There you go. Well, tell us a little bit about your vision for your company and your life in general.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said in the beginning, is that I would love to replace all leather in sporting goods. You see a lot of, like, I think it was Gucci or Louis Vuitton or someone that said that they're no longer going to use leather to produce their bags, and I think that's awesome. I think there's a bunch of options out there. There's Cactus. I think H&M just said they're creating a line that's made out of grapes or something like that. So I would love to create a change throughout all sport. I would love for Nike and Adidas and Puma and Under Armour to start being more eco-friendly. Like, I know that Nike, I think, is doing a collab with Billie Eilish, who's a big vegan supporter, but it's like 30% recycled polyester, and then the rest is like 70% cotton that's like not super sustainable. And it's like 30%, that's the best you can do, Billy. Like, let's go 100%. Let's go 90%, and then you can still use your 10% spandex type of thing. So I'd love to tackle the just balls to start with. There's 750,000 footballs sold by one of the top, I think it's Wilson, that sells like over 700,000 just footballs alone, and that's like 37,000 cows that are being skinned for footballs. And so it'd be great to create a change amongst then get into kind of a clothing aspect of it, of sustainable clothing, whether it's recycled polyester or bamboo is a really hot market right now. So just kind of tackling sustainability all on the sporting fronts, and would love to be the kind of the Kleenex for eco-friendly sports, for eco-friendly sporting goods.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I love that. And do you see yourself kind of running this eco-friendly chain, or do you see it becoming a chain? Do you see it kind of running it for the rest of your life, or do you have next steps?
Yeah, I mean, I am pretty flexible, I guess, with it. I love running it and being a part of it, and it's my baby, so I would love to, for as long as it's fulfilling, to keep running it for as long as possible. And right now we have only eco sports products right now, but let's say if Nike or Adidas came up with a sustainable basketball, like, we'd be happy to sell it on our marketplace, on our website, and like kind of be an eco sports, let's just say an eBay or an Amazon for eco-friendly sporting equipment. So that would be like a really far goal, is that we're the Dick's Sporting Goods of eco sports.
I love that. I love that. Well, awesome. What caused you to take the first step towards really making this company happen and seeing this vision come into fruition?
I'd say a couple things. I mean, first and foremost, I've always been an entrepreneur. So I was selling stuff online. I was selling some tennis equipment online, and I was making side hustle change, so I was making some money, but I knew that I could sell online, and I was working for an SEO company doing marketing, which is also selling stuff online for, big companies that are doing millions to, I think our SEO company was, doing billions of dollars in transactions. So it's like, I'm working 40 plus hours a week for this company and doing an awesome job. And the company that we're working for starts seeing these great revenue jumps and my salary still staying the same. I was like, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So I finally, I was able to get a little bit of investment and put it into the basketballs, and I jumped full time into eco sports. So, I wanted to work for myself, and I wanted to combine find something that I'm passionate about, and especially with COVID and the work from home and all that type of stuff, it made sense.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I love that. And so did you start it right around COVID kind of hitting?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, I had the idea probably a little around COVID. I like one of the last jobs that I took, I like took a specific position to learn these skill sets. I almost thought of it like grad school, almost instead of paying to go to grad school, I was going to pay to learn how to do SEO marketing, some search engine optimization stuff. And so with that said, I always kind of had in the back of my mind, and on weekends and nights, I'd be talking to Alibaba and getting samples and trying all these different things. And finally, I had the product ready to go. I had the money ready to go, and I gave my 2 weeks notice a couple months ago, and we've been full time eco sports.
Dude, that's awesome. I love it.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love it.
living the dream, as they'd say.
Absolutely. Well, awesome. If there were one or two people you can meet right now, or types of people you can meet right now that would really help you take that next step with eco sports, who would they be and how would they do it?
Yeah, I'd say one of my always go to is Rich Roll. He's like an ultra marathon triathlete guru. But he was also a big inspiration in me going plant-based. I had chosen to go plant-based before I started listening to him, but what he does so well is he has such like high performance athletes on there. He's had some NFL players on there. He has, all. So he had some NFL athletes on there. He had some, Olympic swimmers, runners, bikers, just every different type of athlete. That's all plant-based. And he has, people that are dealing with cultivated meat, which is a whole another topic of type of veganism where they're, taking cells of animals and then being able to grow them in labs, which is crazy. But he would certainly be up there, Rich Roll. And then the founder of Tom's, he was a college tennis player, but he's also just a serial entrepreneur. And like he started a laundry washing business his freshman year of college. And then now he also gives away millions of shoes every year. And the philanthropy behind his multi-million dollar business is incredible. And so I would love to hit with him one day and pick his brain.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. What are the most important one or two things that everyday people can do to help you kind of take that next step in eco sports?
Yeah, definitely. I think just you think about what you put in your body, whether you're trying to do, 100% organic chicken and rice and broccoli. Like you think about all the things that are going into your body. While I think that you should skip out on the chicken and get your protein from other sources, you should think about what you're putting back into the earth. And so the basketballs that you're buying, whether it's the leather or the PU leather, like when you're done with those balls, they don't ever biodegrade, and then they turn into like microplastics that go into the ocean, and then it's just horrible for our entire ecosystem. Whereas if you think about having a biodegradable or recyclable basketball, that we can turn it into another basketball or other products. And so that's definitely one thing to think about. Like you think about what you put in your body, think about what you're putting into earth. And then just like another thing, well, I guess this is when you come across like a holiday such as Thanksgiving or Christmas, or even like 4th of July, if you're going out to barbecue, like maybe just try having one plant-based meal out there. Like the rest of my family will be having, turkey or burgers type of thing, but, maybe make a plant-based meatloaf, or you get some Beyond Burgers out there, just like one step at a time, one meal at a time.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I feel that. I feel that. Well, awesome, man. Now we're going to jump into our thriving three. And
Good.
that's just where I get to hear about you and how you like to thrive. So the first question is, what's your favorite book, movie, or podcast? Pick one.
Ooh, okay. So many good options. I really liked the Phil Knight Nike book, just because just what a grinding story that was of him, selling shoes out of his car and turning it into just the absolute empire. And I also found it like interesting of him dealing with, you know, of outsourcing things to overseas. And he tried to pay these people like more than what doctors were making in their country, but like the government wouldn't let him pay more. So like he gets a bad rap for, like doing underpaid labor, but at the same time he tried to pay them more. So there's so much more to it, but that was a good book that I recently read. I'm currently rereading also the Harry Potter books. I think I'm on the fifth one right now, so that's more for some pleasure.
That's awesome. I've never
Yeah.
read through all the Harry Potter books.
Yeah, the movies are fantastic, but the books just there's so much better, and there's so much information that you're like, whoa.
Yeah, yeah. They made her a billionaire for a reason.
Yes, yeah, that was a good point. I know they should make a book about her life story.
Honestly, I'm sure they will.
Yeah,
They'll come out with it.
yeah, yeah.
What's one way you like to care for yourself?
Ooh, I just joined a tennis club actually nearby, and I've never been a sauna person, but I'm really enjoying the sauna, and just especially like it's winter, it's cold, and it just kind of warms my soul up. So after a good workout, I'll go kind of stretch and sit in the sauna is my relaxation.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. And what's one action step you can take right now to take eco sports to the next level? Or meet the people you need to meet to take it to the next level?
Well, besides being on wonderful podcasts like yourself and you allowing me to spread my message, which I greatly appreciate, I think it's just a simple like the answer is always no unless you ask. And so going up to these people that might be intimidating or you'd never think that you could be on their podcast, but just shooting them a message or finding some mutual connections and trying to get in that way. And so definitely like being a part of this tennis club, there are a lot of people that, oh yeah, I have a buddy that used to ship stuff into Dick's Sporting Goods, happy to help. Hey, I have a warehouse that you can ship some stuff to, like, well, how can I help? So like just putting yourself out there and asking.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I love that. Tell us a little bit more about, kind of how your business functions. Is it like a storefront? Is it completely online? Is it shipping from, like, where is it shipping from? Do you have like manufacturing centers, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah, so we're manufacturing overseas right now. And so I have a warehouse here in Los Angeles where I'm at, and we just have all the balls coming there. So the soccer balls, volleyballs, and soccer balls while we're starting. And yeah, so we're primarily on Shopify and Amazon. And then as our sales grow, I mean, we'll start reaching out to local sporting goods stores and some like more national type of stuff. But to get into Dick's Sporting Goods is obviously the dream. Who doesn't want to be in Dick's? But at the same time, they might want to order 200,000 basketballs, and that is great. But what happens if they don't sell and then they ship back 180,000 basketballs? Then I'm on the hook for 180,000 basketballs. So I want to make sure that we're moving and grooving and getting. Plus, the margins are so thin when you ship into somebody like Dick's that it just has to make sense for that. So really will be direct to consumer and mainly online, with the goal of getting into retail at some point.
Gotcha. I love that. I love that. And where can people go to find out more about you? And maybe are you creating content, podcasts, et cetera, stuff like that?
Yeah, I would start with ecosports.com, where you can learn a little bit about my story of why I founded EcoSports. You can learn about the material that we're using, the biodegradable, eco-friendly material that we're using for every ball, and how we give back 10% of every purchase. And we're trying to plant some more trees out in the world. But also you could go to Instagram. I was super into content when I first moved out to Los Angeles, so I built like, I'm considered a micro influencer on Instagram, but I've seen the horrors of how kind of bad social media is for you, and just like I was always comparing myself to other people that, had 50,000, 100,000 Instagram followers, and just found myself like getting into this place I didn't want to be. So I kind of like dropped the ball on social media. Now that I'm starting a business, I realize the importances of social media. So I'm kind of trying to be back there, but I'm also trying to automate it a little bit so I don't have to spend so much time on it. But Instagram is Troy Akin or ecosports_save earth. I try and post every day on ecosports. And then, I've always wanted to do a podcast and kind of like a plant-based athlete podcast. So like maybe I'll have to pick your brain on getting a podcast started.
Yeah, man, absolutely. You can always pick my brain anytime you want. My cell number should be in the email I sent you, so feel free to text me anytime.
I definitely will. I will.
Awesome. Well, is there anything else you want to talk about before we sign off?
I don't think so. I think everything should be online and available by the time this podcast come out. So make sure to check it out. I think if you sign up for the newsletter, you get a 15% discount, and it'd be great to share with the world and do the right thing with some eco-friendly balls.
Absolutely. Sounds good. Well, guys, if you were listening to this and you liked Troy's message and you want some eco-friendly balls for the sports that you play, feel free to reach out to Troy. Feel free to go to ecosports.com and buy the stuff, sign up for the newsletter, get in contact with him. Also, if you happen to know Rich Roll or the founder of Tom's, be sure to connect Troy to them.
Let me know.
Exactly. Be sure to connect Troy to them and make that happen.
Yeah.
Finally.
I've had some great connections being on podcasts. You never know who you're going to meet.
Oh yeah. You never know. It's like maybe his like niece listens to this or something, makes the connection. But finally send this episode to somebody needs to hear this message. Leave us a 5-star review on iTunes, and we're out.